She lived in a cozy, U-shaped apartment complex where her living room and kitchen windows overlooked a small courtyard. It was a place she trusted until the day trust broke. One October afternoon, a woman noticed something odd. Through her living room window, she saw an elderly stranger strolling past. But then the woman stopped, looked up, and locked eyes. The gaze was unnerving, but that was only the beginning. The resident calls out through the open front door, midway between window and kitchen. "Can I help you?" The stranger replies in a soft, deliberate voice. "We're looking for Ellie." No one was named Ellie here, but the woman lingered, face still at the glass, blank, yet unsettling. They close the door, blinds down. She breathes, shaken, but then they peek through the curtain slit. She's back, staring. Their partner, panic glinting in their eyes, raises a kitchen knife at the window. The stranger doesn't flinch, doesn't blink, just watches, and then the screaming starts. Hearts pound. Silence falls. The woman begins banging, first on the window, then at the door. Thud, thud, thud. The knob rattles. They're paralyzed by fear. But when the slamming stops, she's gone, and the courtyard falls silent again. They rush outside into the courtyard, empty. No gate opening, no footsteps, no one there, no one seen. The peaceful place turns sinister. This was no friendly wrong address. This was intentional, and definitely not finished. They lock everything down, blinds sealed. But that night, the door begins rattling again, while they lie frozen in bed. No voice this time, just knots of dread and frantic gasps echoing through the apartment. They investigate. Nothing. No footprints anywhere. No possible escape route. The woman had vanished as effortlessly as she appeared, leaving only dread behind. She never returned, though, but neither did their peace. They never found Ellie. They never encountered the stranger again. And sometimes, late at night, they still think they see her. Just a glimmer in the window, a silent plea. A reminder that some faceless watchers never leave. She thought this house would be a fresh start, a place to heal, a quiet street, friendly neighbors, early autumn leaves drifting down the sidewalk. But 2 weeks into this new chapter, when the world was asleep, something tapped, tap, tap, tap. At first, she brushed it off. Old wood settling, climate changes. She closed her eyes, breathed deep. But in the bleary half-dark of her bedroom, nestled under wool blankets, she heard it again. And this time, it was impossible to ignore. She roused early the next morning, coffee in hand, convincing herself it was nothing. Just the creak of old floorboards, the house breathing with age. That night, however, the tapping resumed. Tap, 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 softer now, almost curious. She lifted the blanket, walked to the wall, pressed her ear close. No echo, no pattern, just random, sporadic taps. She whispered to herself, "It's just the house, just settling." But inside, uncertainty had taken root. 2 nights later, she invited a friend over to reassure her, or at least offer comfort. Batch of tea, soft music, everything seemingly normal. But when she asked her friend, "Did you hear that?" Nothing. Silence. She pressed her hand into the dry wall, heard only muted hollow reverberations. Her friend shrugged. 5 minutes after her friend left, tap, tap, tap. This time louder, insistent. She realized then it wasn't the house. It was something living inside the walls. The taps mutated into knocks, brief staccato bursts that paused and restarted. At precisely 3:55 a.m., she jolted awake. Knock, knock, knock. The bedroom wall erupted with force, so loud it shook her kettle from the bedside tray. She listened, heart hammering. Nothing. No footsteps outside, no voices, an empty silence, and then one final rap, like a closing punctuation. She knew this was beyond natural now. She recorded sound over several nights, a passive trap to capture the phenomenon. The knocks came in rhythm, up the wall, then down, then silence, and once, a whisper, help. It was so soft, she nearly thought it was her own mind. But it was clear, desperate. Tap, help, tap. She invited contractors, professional, ex-military, curious. They removed drywall, exposed wiring, piping, streams of concrete. Nothing alive, nothing logical. Then a paranormal investigator arrived, calm, methodical. He described it like a poltergeist pregnancy. Small noises first, then more force. But what if it wasn't poltergeist? What if something was buried, something hidden, in that house? She didn't sleep anymore. The walls locked her in a cycle of dread. Any attempt to relax was interrupted by tapping, from the outer wall or somewhere deeper. She fled to a motel in a nearby town. The walls there were silent, but the silence was worse. No relief, only the space to remember. She sold the house, gave it away, erased its address from her memory. But sometimes, late at night, on cold nights with wind rattling windows, she lies awake, and in her dreams, tap, tap, tap. The tapping always returns. A reminder that some walls don't stay dead, some houses keep secrets, and some knocks never stop. He had finally found peace in this modest duplex. A simple living space, warm kitchen, and a short flight of stairs leading up to his snug bedroom. It was a place he thought would be safe. A haven after a series of chaotic moves. But calm turned to unease the moment he heard the first footstep. In the dead silence of midnight, a soft creak echoed somewhere above. At first he dismissed it as gravity at work, but when it happened again, one sharp step, patted by darkness, a pulse of fear started deep in his chest. He lay motionless under the blankets, listening to a phantom presence pacing just beyond his bedroom door, testing the stairs' resolve. The following nights became a trap of dread. Every time he drifted into the edge of sleep, a faint crunch of wood underfoot jolted him awake. 1, 2, 3, or maybe more, soft thuds. The weight of the sound lingered long after, like a heartbeat echoing through an empty shell. Determined to rationalize, he blamed creaky floorboards and temperature shifts. But as his unease grew, he found himself waiting, listening, with his eyes open, every muscle poised to spring. It became routine. Hear the creak, freeze in bed, wait, then repeat. A growing tide of fear drove him to call his landlord, someone who could explain away the noises. They sent a caretaker, who confirmed the house's age and agreed that it creaked. He smiled politely, reassured him it was normal. Relieved, the tenant repeated this to himself each night, until the knocks grew louder, more insistent, as though whoever walked those stairs was testing every step. The footsteps started ascending earlier, lingering at the top landing, and then descending, always deliberate, always too late or too early. He realized this was no passive structure. Something moved them, and maybe it was alive. One night, armed with a flashlight, he crept downstairs in a final attempt to catch the culprit. He flipped the hallway switch, heart thundering, as light spilled over stale carpet. But the hallway remained empty. As he swung the beam to the upper corner of the stairwell, a dark silhouette, flickered out of sight. A squat, featureless shape adhering to the wall like a stain. He blinked, but when he turned his head, it vanished. No cozy bunker of clothes or stray cat. Nothing. Only silence, perforated by his own ragged breath. When he replaced the bulb hours later, his hands trembled, and he realized he wasn't hunting noise, he was hunting someone. Desperate for proof, he mounted a small camera above the staircase, pointing down. That night, he heard it again. Click, click, slow, heavy steps climbing upward. Then silence. He raced to playback. On screen, empty darkness, no figure. Yet at one frame, shadows flickered and bent in sharp arcs across the steps. It was a shift no breeze could cause, a shape no one dared identify. He watched it half a dozen times, frozen in place, hearing the patter of phantom feet. The camera recorded what he could not see, but something was there, startling him deeper into the unknown. He shared the footage with his landlord, only to be dismissed again. Old houses, he was told. Next, he moved out for a weekend, staying with a friend in another city. For 2 nights, no footsteps, no shadows, no shape watching from the corner. It felt safe, but the peace turned pale. He realized it wasn't the building, but what it sheltered inside. Too afraid to sleep near stairs ever again, he returned home and began removing rugs, softening lights, leaving lights on. But the stairs resonated with every fiber of his fear, every breath in the dark. One night, just before dawn, footsteps once again pattered across the landing, so close he heard the grain of wood under tread. Outside his door, a scratch, then a low whisper, "Let me in." Searing cold ran through his blood. He dared not move, not breath, nor stir. The voice repeated, shifting into something guttural, eager. Then, silence. He slept fitfully with the closet open, suitcase packed at his feet. At sunrise, he locked the door and left. With trembling resolve, he boxed up what he could, plugged in the camera, and walked out. He told himself it was just fear, but the tape proved otherwise. He drove away while the duplex shrank in his rearview mirror. Every glance backward made his heart thud. He never returned. He never looked back again. He now lives in a modern flat. No stairs, no shared walls. And yet at night, when silence falls and he lies awake, he can still hear it. A single creak from the corner of his mind, like someone stepping forward in darkness. He can't stop his heart when it happens. He doesn't sleep near stairs anymore. Thank you for watching. If you found this story chilling, subscribe for more real-life horrors and unsolved mysteries. The truth is out there. Why?